Do you want to handle conflict like a pro? Well, this is the muscle that you must develop. And yes, it's a muscle because the brain is really a muscle. But when we're developing our brain, what we also must develop is our heart, our emotional intelligence. Welcome. My name is Rus Nikita. I've helped thousands of leaders and entrepreneurs just like you discover their life's true purpose and live their dreams. So when we're talking about intelligence, there's really two types. There's intellectual intelligence and then there's emotional intelligence. And if you've ever been in any business situation where one is lacking versus the other, then you know it immediately. Somebody can be the smartest person in the room, but the way they go about expressing themselves and putting down other people makes other people not listen to them. Or you can know absolutely nothing about the subject, but because you're able to deeply connect, build rapport, and really listen to people, you're able to learn much faster and understand the problems that your clients, partners are really having. Now, how do you develop emotional intelligence? Well, there's really only a few ways, but the one I'm going to give you right now is bulletproof. And it's called conflict resolution. And it's called make some friends. Us as adults have such a hard time making friends, right? There's all kinds of jokes that men can't make friends, especially past a certain age. Well, if you want to develop your emotional intelligence, then you are going to put yourself outside of your comfort zone and do your best to make some new friends. Because whenever we are in a social situation, and this really applies to social situations, but whatever applies to social situations applies to business, applies to family. We want to make new friends. And of course, the first thing you want to look for is to make sure that your friends have deep, like-minded values as you. That's what's going to create a long-term friendship. Now, where do you make friends? Well, what do you like to do? Do you like climbing? Do you like sailing? Do you like reading? This needs to be an in-person activity. And why does it need to be an in-person activity? Because part of developing your emotional intelligence is learning how to really read people. You want to read the micro-expressions. You want to read the body language. You want to distinguish the tonality that people have. And you want to do all of this while creating new friends. So maybe you go out surfing. Maybe you go out rock climbing. Maybe you go out biking. There's groups for all of this. And chances are, at some point, you're going to connect with some people. At some point, you're going to build some rapport. At some point, you're going to develop a deep connection. And when you do that, one of the things that are inevitably going to come up are challenges, are problems, are situations. And that is your opportunity to train your emotional intelligence muscle. Now, one of the places that you can start meeting friends and new people is in your business right now. Even if you hired them, even if you're the CEO, even if you're another C-suite executive, see who you can connect with. See who wants to maybe be part of your friend group outside of work. And you're going to start developing those relationships. You're going to go golfing together. You'll go to the batting cages together. Maybe you'll go just for runs together or for walks together. And you're going to start talking deeply about problems. And when you are discussing those challenges, you are going to do this specifically. One, you're going to listen because remember, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. You want to listen twice as much as you talk. Before you respond. So first, you're going to listen. 2, you're going to think about it deeply, but not just with your brain. You're going to think about it with your heart. Sometimes when we want to reply, the immediate reply is what our brain thought. You want to take a pause, pump the brakes, and give yourself the opportunity to process the information, to process the challenge, to process the information that your friend just shared with you. Maybe they're having a hard time at work. Maybe they're having a hard time at home. Maybe they're having a hard time with their children. Maybe they're having a hard time with their parents. Whatever it is, maybe it's something completely different. Whatever it is, you're going to learn how to take in information without taking on their problems, without making their problems and challenges your own. So that is also a very important little thing that you must master. You must master the art of listening deeply and caring deeply, but not to the point where it affects you negatively, where now you are trapped in the cycle. Now, all of this is just basic communication. Now, how do you develop the deep emotional intelligence muscle? You let their challenges percolate. You allow yourself to feel what they're going through. You do your best to put yourself in their shoes. That is one of the main ways we can develop emotional intelligence. Because now you're not only understanding where they're coming from, you're starting to think about how they feel. You're starting to understand maybe why they did some things that they did, maybe why they reacted a certain way. You see, we're all different. People, humans, we are all the same because we all bleed red, but we're all very different. Even twins experience the world very differently. So to understand another person, why they do what they do, is one of the most important things you can cultivate as a leader, as an entrepreneur, or just as a human. To really get to the bottom of what makes a certain person feel the way they feel, think the way they think, and react the way that they react. What is it about them? Maybe they had a crazy childhood. Maybe they just went through a breakup. Maybe on the way over here they got into an accident and that's why they're yelling. That's why they're upset. You're going to listen with caring, but with separation. You're not going to allow their negative energy to drag you down. Now, this also goes completely the other way and in the positive way too. Maybe they're sharing something with you that is exciting, that is cool, that's elevating. Now, when you take that on, instead of, again, replying immediately, you're going to let the feelings sink in. You're going to allow yourself to feel that positivity. You're going to allow yourself to see and feel from their point of view. Why are they so excited? Maybe they just got excited about smelling a rose. Maybe they just got excited that their kid got an A instead of a B. Whatever it is. You're going to see the world from their perspective. And that's really what emotional intelligence is all about, is separating yourself from others to the point where you can feel what they're feeling, you can see what they're seeing, and you can understand how they operate. This might seem like such an oversimplification, and it is. Make some friends, listen to them fully. Now, another way you can develop emotional intelligence is to play some games. And I'm not talking about video games, I'm talking about board games. Find some board game nights for yourself. They're all around. One of my favorite ones to play is Cash Flow because it's a money game. Monopoly is another one. Catan, whatever it is. But when you are going to start playing the games, you're going to need to understand why the other people are doing and taking action the way that they are. And that is a hack to quickly and exponentially develop your own emotional intelligence. You see, everything that we do must have a playful component because when we're having fun, then we're much more likely to repeat what we're doing, and we're much more likely to retain the information, and then we're much more likely to repeat it. So remember, whatever it is that you're going to do, however it is that you're going to go throughout the world, Make some friends and continue making friends. Have different types of friends. Have friends that are older than you, have friends that are younger than you. Have friends that are very wealthy, and have others that are on their way to becoming completely wealthy. Have a well-rounded circle of people that you can listen to. Again, this might seem too simple, but this is the way, and it really works. If you want to develop more as a human, it's not enough to just read the books. You got to go have the experiences, meet the people, connect with them, go sailing, go climbing, go running, whatever it is. But in those processes, in the quote-unquote dull moments, you're going to be able to sit, relax, and really connect with people deeply. And that is how you develop your emotional intelligence. And by developing your emotional intelligence, you're going to be able to see things much deeper. You're going to become much wiser. And you're going to be a much more rounded person. Because now you're not only going to be smart in the brain, you're going to be caring in the heart. Thank you very much for watching. This is Rus Nikita. Remember, be fearless. Let's go.